I feel like this is a lesson that I had to learn as an adult. Many of us have had big Christmases in the past, and we expect our Christmas to look a certain way. Or maybe we didn't have the Christmases that we wanted as a child, and now we think we're going to make Christmas exactly what we want. But because of COVID, I guarantee that almost nobody is having the Christmas that they want, except for perhaps those of us, I know some, who have anxiety and would rather be left alone. You might be having the Christmas that you want finally. Um, but for the rest of us who have certain expectations that are almost certainly not going to be met, this devotional, A Small Christmas, is for you. It's okay if your Christmas is small. It's okay if you don't have a big musical production or candlelit processions or meaningful sermons and verses read in sacred tones. It's okay if the house is not decorated and covered in lights, or even if you don't have a home to decorate. It's okay. It's okay if you don't have a family gathering, or even if there's a place setting missing. It's okay if you don't have the finest gifts, and even if you don't have any gifts at all. It's okay if you are not big enough to make all those things happen this year, or any year. The first Christmas didn't have any of those things. Long before that night, Mary had seen an angel, and Mary visited her cousin Elizabeth, and the unborn child in Elizabeth's womb leapt at the presence of the baby in Mary, though Mary was less than 3 months pregnant. Tiny unborn children were the first to celebrate Christmas. The smallest is small. Joseph was just a carpenter. Mary was just a girl. Neither were wealthy or well known. Joseph and Mary were traveling with just one donkey when Mary went into labor. She didn't have her family around her. No mother or sister or even a midwife to help her. They couldn't even get a room for the night. The baby Jesus was born in an animal stall. Was the straw even clean? Was there fresh water? Were they warm enough? But they had the strength of their faith. They knew they were following what God had set up for them to do. It was just the 3 of them that night at first. Then the shepherds show up, saying that God had sent angels to them proclaiming the Christ's birth. Just a few dudes in a field full of sheep. But they were the ones that God chose to hear and share the news. It wasn't until much later that the traveling wise men visited bearing gifts. But that first night, it was small. It was humble. It was probably not at all what anyone wanted or what anyone expected it to be. So then, why do we still celebrate that night 2,000 years later? Because those few people in that humble setting gave what they had to God, and God had a plan for something bigger. So it's okay if your Christmas is small and humble. It's okay if what you have to bring to God is small too. When you're tempted to think that it's not enough, that you are not enough, think about that Christmas night. Then bring your humble gifts to God. He has a plan for something bigger.